You're watching the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. It's a mailbag. We answer all of your questions for the most part on our live audience here at the Cowboys Report. But there were some non-questions we wanted to get to from Super Thanks that had come in. So we'll begin with those Super Thanks questions because I want to prioritize you guys as a thank you for donating to the channel. MLZ's video says Jeremy and Tom have to play each other in NCAA 14. The people want it. This is based on our previous debates. For the record, I would smoke Jeremy. I would. That is my game. I know all the tricks, all the tips. I would own him. But we're a show for the people. So who do you think wins? Like the video if you think I'm going to win, or you can type in J for Jeremy. This is democracy, Chugs. This is democracy.
My boy's in the chat right now, so he can attest. Sports video games, Tom, you're going down. You're getting destroyed.
If we play Madden, you will win.
If we play any sports game,
if we play 2K, you will smoke me.
NCAA?
If we play Shell, you will win. If we play NCAA 14,
I will win.
I'm winning.
No, Tom, you're not winning.
Absolutely. Win that. I will destroy you. Do you have PS5 or Xbox, by the way?
PS5.
Or sorry, PS3 or Xbox, I guess, for that game. Oh, you don't have it anymore. That's right. That's why I'm going to win. Like the video if you think I would win NCAA 14 matchup. All right, Kyle Garnett next up here. Why didn't they keep, this is super thanks, by the way, why didn't they keep Lyle Collins moved to left guard? He played there closer to the beginning of his career. Why not keep Lyle and fill a different need the first round of the draft? So there are several reasons in the end why they chose not to keep Collins. Part of it is they don't think he can bend the same way he used to. That hip, not 100%. I think they are worried about him having to play guard where the bend is a bit more important. They also did not trust him anymore. With the suspension, with the showing up to camp out of shape 2 years ago, leading to the hip injury, or whatever led to the hip injury, either way, they did not have faith anymore. So they did not trust Collins, and they didn't know if they could actually play guard the same way he did at the beginning of his career. Now, these questions came in via YouTube's Super Thanks feature. In the past, you could only donate via Super Chats on live shows. YouTube now has Super Thanks. You can donate outside of live videos. Click the thanks icon, kind of above the comments, below the video part. It looks like that little heart with the $sign in the middle. If you do a Super Thanks, we will give you a shout out here on the Cowboys Report. From Mighty Ant 0215, Tom's great. First off, thank you. What would we owe Cedrick Wilson, and what pick would we have to give up? And an apology, of course, yeah. He also mentions Marvin Jones as a red zone target. Old, I know. So let's start with the Marvin Jones side of things here. The Jags did overhaul their receiving room, but I think they're still banking on Jones being a key part of it. He has been a pretty good red zone threat, at least beyond last year, because that offense was an absolute disaster, in large part because nobody could catch and nobody could block, and the coaching staff was just garbage in the end. So I would not get my hopes up for a Marvin Jones trade. As for Cedrick Wilson, probably wouldn't get my hopes up there either. He signed a 3-year, $22.5 million deal this offseason. Before the Tyreek Hill trade, Miami would save $2.75. The Cowboys would then owe 3 years, $19.05 million in total on that deal. Again, the saving in owes doesn't match because it's a post-June 1st trade, so the numbers get kind of funky. But that is what the Cowboys would owe Cedrick Wilson. I think they're still going to use him, so I wouldn't get my hopes up there. But would you trade for Cedrick Wilson? Why for yes or and for? Let's say it was I'll go on the higher end, a 4th-round pick in exchange for Cedrick Wilson, a conditional 5th maybe. Would you do it? Y for yes or N for no? This is the pinned comment, so if the ad break comes, take advantage of it and let me know what you would do. A lot of super chats. We'll try to go, we'll take our time. Savage505, who would you trade for right now? I don't know. I would like to target a linebacker. If the Falcons eat some money for Deion Jones, I'd have interest there, but we know how the Cowboys operate. From Jimmy Productions, I feel like Ceedee Lamb will be double-teamed a lot next year because our receiving core is not good, especially early on. You're not going to have Gallup for at least a few games, most likely. I think we have to be patient with Jalen Tolbert, who I love, but we saw it took Gallup some time to adjust to life in the NFL. I am worried about that. For me, it was never about can Lamb replace Cooper. It's who do you replace the receiver 2 and 3 with? Because you lost Wilson and Cooper. Like, I think Lamb can be a 1, but the supporting cast took a big-time step backward. So I get where you're coming from there, Jimmy. From Tyler Klutz's burner account, assuming both have great years, who would you pay first, Diggs or Lamb? I think I would lean toward. I think I'd lean towards Diggs because I don't have the extra 5th year that I have for Lamb, which impacts my ability to prioritize it. Like I have more time for Lamb, but I would also be worried about the receiving market being moved even further. I don't think the corner one's going to change that drastically, but I do want to pay Diggs before A.J. Terrell gets the bag and others of his draft class, so I guess I'll go Diggs first. The Cowboys Report is also on Rumble. Someone commented, you should have your own podcast. Well, the show is the podcast. I don't need to say the same things twice, but if you want to listen to the show, podcast style, Rumble is perfect. You can do it audio only in the background, which you can't really do on YouTube. So go follow us, rumble.com/CowboysTV. And remember, we put exclusive content up there, part of After Hours and uncensored videos as well. From Lance Dunbar's burner account, who says no? Let's give Tampa Trysten Hill for a roster bubble wide receiver. Breshad Perriman, Jaelon Darden, Cyril Grayson, Scotty Miller. One of them's going to get cut, right? You are absolutely correct that one of those guys is going to get cut. You also may have just explained why you don't need to do it. Because if they're going to get cut, then you don't have to trade somebody. And the savings between trading away Trysten Hill and cutting him is pretty even. I don't know if Tampa would want Hill. If they do, I'm down because it just secures my guy and I don't have to go through the waiver wire process. But I think Tampa is a good team to keep an eye out for extra receiver depth. They got too many guys. By the way, Cyril Grayson, don't forget, Cowboys practice squad legend. From Mark, Super Chat, sucks how we got so little for Coop and Collins. They did not play the Amari Cooper situation right. They botched that from the beginning, and they hurt themselves in the process. Lyle Collins, they handled that better. They leaked their possible trade because they weren't getting good offers for him. From Jeremy Shaver, a.k.a. the cool Jeremy. Love the show, Tom. Listening from work. Go Cowboys, and a hot dog on a bun is not a sandwich. Don't go to it, Jeremy. We're not going to go any further, but I do think Jeremy is right. From Evan Berryman. Now, this is nepotism, Jeremy. He says Schultz is a borderline top 5 tight end. Production-wise, he was, though, last year. So, look, we can pull up all the top tight ends in the NFL if you want to have some fun here, Jeremy. Because I don't think anyone in their right mind is taking him over Travis Kelce, over George Kittle, over Mark Andrews, Darren Waller. I would include Kyle Pitts and maybe T.J. Hawkinson in that conversation.
Dallas Goedert.
Maybe. And Goddard's probably in there, too.
Goddard's better than Schultz.
And then Schultz. So that puts him at what, 8? So it's not kind of borderline, kind of not. But he is. I think 8's about where I would put him. I do think you can make an argument for maybe 7, maybe. But he's not actually top 5.
If he put up the exact same numbers as he did last year, this year, would you call him a top 5 receiver?
I still don't think
consistency 2 years in a row.
I still don't think it's going to be top 5 because we've seen guys like Pitts in 1 year and Kelce, Kittle, Andrews, etc., and Waller when he's getting targeted properly put up that production. So I don't have him top 5. I think he's top 10, but I think there is a pretty big tier break behind those true top 5 guys and kind of your second tier of very good tight ends.
Not a Jag, but like a little bit better than a Jag.
He's good, but he's not great. Do you want to pay great money to a good player? That's the issue.
Good tagline, Tom.
That's a Stephen Jones tagline. He gets credit for that thing at least. Alize Pin, who's got more to prove, Dak or Zeke? I think it's really straightforward. It's Zeke. Because if Zeke does not play that well this year, he's gone. He's not going to come back at this point. So I would definitely say that Zeke has the most to prove on that standpoint in terms of just value and everything from that perspective. All right, Samuel Durant? About to get traded. He's next up here. Could you give fantasy draft grades for Lamb, Dak, Zeke, Pollard, and Schultz? Much love. All right. I guess I can give that a shot here. Let's go with Dak, and I'll just focus position-wise here. Prescott is probably going to be in that mid-ish tight QB1 position where I don't like drafting quarterbacks early outside of 2 QB leagues because I can get Burrow, Brady, Russ, Dak, Lance, even a Matthew Stafford. I can get that guy late, so I don't like drafting quarterbacks early. I still think Zeke is ahead of Tony Pollard in terms of the value. I would not take Zeke in the first round. I don't know if I'd take him in the second round that much either. I think at this point he's probably maybe more of a third, fourth round pick. Pollard, I think, has extra value in PPR leagues. But again, you're talking like barely top 100 guy there. Schultz, I think, is a pretty safe pick as a top 10 tight end. Kind of right where we had him, I think, for the overall tight end conversation. Probably somewhere in that 7, 8, 9 range. But again, you don't want to reach on him from that perspective. Overall, Lamb. Forgot about Lamb. Hoping he has a breakout year. I think he could maybe a top 10 fantasy tight end this year in terms of his impact on that standpoint. From IC, would you trade Anthony Brown for a starter at another position? It's a good question. Depends on the position and how good of a starter I am getting. I want to say yes, but I can't trust Kelvin Joseph right now. If Joseph had emerged last year and didn't have his off-the-field issues, I think this would make a lot of sense because you've got depth there, and I like trading depth at one spot. We'd still be fine to help another position. But right now, I feel like I'd be creating a concern to fill another concern, and I don't want to do that. Anthony Brown, by the way, was good last year. I think this might be his last year in Dallas because I kind of think someone, if he plays like he did last year, is going to throw the Brown a little bit more money what the Cowboys want to give him. But outside of the Bucs game and the officiating disaster that was the Raiders game, he was awesome last year. He played really well as a cornerback too. And I know that not everyone agrees with that. This is a democracy. This is your chance to vote. Do you like Anthony Brown as cornerback number 2? Type L for you like it, or type in H for you hate it. This is an incredible super chat from Tyler Klutz's burner account. Pick a receiving core. Lucky Whitehead, Dwayne Harris, Terrence Williams, or Devin Street, Bryce Butler, Ryan Switzer. Give me the first grouping of Dwayne Harris, Lucky Whitehead, and Terrence Williams in large part because by a significant margin, Terrence Williams is the best receiver on that group. Now, he fell off quick, and he had bad drops, but he was at least productive. No one else on that list was productive for the Cowboys outside of special teams impact. Texan third, Ceedee odds to lead the NFL in receiving yards is plus 1,200 while the doubt go Cowboys. Because from a volume perspective, I don't know if it's going to be there. And you've got a lot of great receivers in the NFL. Frankly, if that is for the NFL, if it's plus 1,200, I am totally on board with that being the overall odds. If it's for the Cowboys, I do not understand why it would be so low. That's easy money at that point. From Jace, what about a Trysten Hill trade? That's the issue, right? Who wants him? I don't see any real value right now for Trysten Hill. This is a player who has not ever been good in his time in the NFL. There's been maturity issues. There's been availability issues. There is talent. Don't get me wrong. That's very clear. We've seen flashes occasionally, but multiple regimes in terms of like the defensive coaching staffs were like, we'll give him a shot. Don't love it. So I would say if you could get anything for him, awesome. But I think a cut might be more likely. Now, what would you do with Trysten Hill? Type K for you'd keep him, or type in D for you would dump him, whether it's cut or trade. Sound off for me in the comment section. From King Shadow 24, I've heard little rumblings that Diggs is still a good receiver. chances he gets receiver snaps in camp in the event of minor injuries. If it is minor injuries in camp, no. I think they would be far more inclined to give the UDFAs chances. Now, if we get to the season and they are decimated at receiver all of a sudden, or if they've got major injuries, at that point, I could actually see it happening, but I don't think they want to run the risk of Diggs getting hurt on offense when he's probably not going to play that position in a game that actually matters. If you enjoy our Cowboys Report mailbags, thank you. Subscribe. We do these as part of our live shows every Thursday here on the Cowboys Report. So hit that big red button right now. The lunatic, more likely, Gallup back in late September or Pollard's touches go up. There is the report from Todd Archer that Gallup is going to be back in late September and he don't miss, but I think Pollard's touches will go up. I am going to speak that one into existence. And finally, from Boondock Saint, Tom, did Mark Cuban pull a Stephen Jones with Jalen Brunson? As we sit here filming this, it is on the eve of NBA free agency, so hot take or cold take coming up. He's gone. He's not. He's going to the Knicks. I think the meetings are designed to avoid tampering. It's a question of how much you want to pay Brunson. So, do you want to give him $25, $23, $30 million? I'm not so sure. I will say this, in the sense of Stephen Jones botching early negotiations, regardless of where Brunson signs, yeah, you could have got him at, what was it, $4.55 not that long ago? You messed that one up pretty badly. Super Chat coming in late here from Dallas Young. How much value should you put in the first 2 games of the year, with them being 2 difficult games? You put it for about 2/17, somewhere in that range. They are important, make no mistake, but season's not over either way. It's a good benchmark of what this team's talent is, but you're not going to be 100% for those first 2 games. So just don't freak out, but it's fine to be concerned or hyped one way or the other. If we did not get to your question, hey, my DMs are open on Twitter. Hit me up on what going downy. Slide on in if you have any questions at all, and we'll just blame producer Jeremy for not getting your questions up on screen.